Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Burn and Learn. My name is Steve Mann. I'm the host of the podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Chris. Chris, would you like to do a quick intro?
Hey, I'm Chris. I'm the co-host of Burn and Learn.
Our special guest today is Mechelle Merkerson. We're happy to have her, and we'd love to know more about her involvement in the cigar industry. We'd love to know more about her business. But I want to also, before we get started, I want to take a couple of minutes to say thank you to our host, Rebellion Cigar Room. We're in downtown Leesburg. As always, a beautiful venue for us to come together and have this conversation over a great stick, great conversation. So thanks to Justin and James for continuing to grace us with hospitality and the ability to use their lounge for the conversation. So with that, Mechelle, I'd love for you to introduce yourself, and we'd love to know a little bit more about you.
Sure. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you all for having me tonight. My name is Mechelle Merkerson. A lot of people know me as Cigars With M or Moments with Mechelle. I own a cigar education company, and I primarily focus on cigar education episodes, of course. And then I host a cigar education event series called VIP with Mechelle that I do 2 times out of the month.
Very nice. Very nice. And so again, we're very excited to have you join us. Looking forward to learning more about your business, learning more about your educational endeavors, things along those lines. And again, I mean, as part of the background, Mechelle and I actually met over Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I had been following her content and reached out to her one day, and she responded back immediately. And as we chatted more, I'm like, I'd really love to have her as a guest to learn more. And again, just educational, right? Like, from Chris and from our perspective, Chris and our perspective, this is essentially our 7th episode, I think.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we created this podcast as a way to enjoy great sticks, have an opportunity to have great conversation about things related to cigars, as well as things not related to cigars.
Right.
While at the same time sharing and imparting wisdom all over a great stick and just having great conversations with great people, right? So as I'm out talking to folks and I see an opportunity to take advantage of someone that's really knowledgeable and very gracious, I always take that opportunity. So absolutely glad that we're able to have this connection.
Thank you.
Again, I reached out on Instagram, Mechelle responded, and then as luck would have it, I did not respond back with next plans. Apologies for that. But then I did attend an event a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago at Georgetown Tobacco, and Mechelle was there. So I had an opportunity to have a conversation with her, and we were able to connect, and the dates worked out for this podcast. So super excited about that opportunity.
Yes.
Again, so part of the podcast is focused on, cutting and lighting and enjoying a great stick, right? So for me, I love Davidoff. That's my line.
Yes,
agreed.
I'm a Davidoff girly.
Absolutely. See? And since we met at a Davidoff event at Georgetown Tobacco, I thought it would only be befitting to bring a Royal Release Robusto. It's probably my favorite cigar.
It's a great cigar.
So, if I have those and we're sharing those, it's a special event, at least for me.
Thank you.
So wanted to share that with you. So that's what I brought. I've got the Davidoff Royal Release Robusto. I've brought one for Mechelle. And Chris, what do you have?
I have the Davidoff Nicaragua.
Gotcha.
Great choice.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And what is that one of your go-tos? Or
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Gotcha.
I believe it's a Nicaraguan Puro, so it's all 100% Nicaraguan.
Gotcha. Perfect. So we'll just go ahead. We'll go ahead and cut and light.
So I had a question for you. What is your
Sure.
kind of I know ritual is very important. What is your ritual for lighting?
So I think it's funny because for me, I teach people in my classes in VIP with Mechelle to do cold draw. And so I do that first. Something that's very important to me is just kind of getting your palate ready for the smoke, or as people will say, waking your palate up. And so I cut the cigar. Most of the time I choose to do a punch. So I did a punch today. And so it really kind of is one of my favorite cuts. And I would say that doing the cold draw, the punch, of course, then the cold draw, and then smoking the cigar, or lighting the cigar and then smoking it is something that I typically do as my smoking ritual. Yeah. What about you?
I don't do a cold draw, but I've heard a lot of people do it. So I'm trying it now. I don't do it often, but I'm going to try it. And then I prefer a straight cut most of the time.
Okay.
And then typically lighting with a soft flame.
Yeah. Soft flame is special.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does a little dance for you, which I like.
Yeah, you have to be patient.
Yes, you do.
You have to be patient.
You do. Just like with dancing, you have to be patient.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, for me, I prefer a punch. So I've got the Davidoff Duo Cut. The Davidoff Duo Cut. That's what I use. And then I've got for my lighter, it is a Davidoff Year of the Ox.
Okay.
2021. And so we'll just go ahead and light.
Got the Cigar Meridian available on Stogie Hub. So this exact one.
Oh, I would be remiss if I didn't mention mention Stogie Hub. So again, I think when you think about the genesis of the podcast, I originally started the podcast as a way to bring awareness to my new company, Stogie Hub. So if you're not,
congratulations on your new
appreciate
company.
that. Yeah, that website's up for about 3 weeks now, and really when I think about Stogie Hub, when I'm giving folks the elevator pitch, it's essentially an eBay-like platform for cigar aficionados, right? So instance, for folks that have extra cutters, lighters, cases, humidors, an ability for like-minded aficionados to buy and sell and trade amongst themselves.
Which is nice. I mean, it's definitely something that we need because in the cigar industry, we go to different cut and lights or we buy boxes of cigars when we go to events, and we have a lot of cigar swag, right?
Yep.
And sometimes you get to a point where you have multiples of the same thing, and so you're like, hey, I want to share with somebody, and yours with your company being able to share with somebody is making also a little extra money on the side, which is also nice.
Well, the reason I like it is what I found, and again, the website's been up for about 3 weeks, but when I look at the comments and the feedback that I'm already getting, people are most interested in the items that are on Stogie Hub that aren't readily available. Right.
The rare stuff.
So just like you said, the promotional things, the limited edition things, the things they can't really get on regular retail, those are the things that are attracting most of the attention on the website. So I think over time, the website will evolve to more of a collector's platform than just an average aficionado's trading platform.
Which is good. I mean, like I said, we need something like that for sure, because I'm sure there are a lot of people that have rare things that they want to sell, but don't necessarily have the audience to be able to do so. As of right now, prior to you, we just had Facebook Marketplace or somebody that hey, I have this item. Do you want to purchase it from me? So it's very nice to have the platform and the availability to be able to do so.
Yeah, I think really what I was looking to create was just something that's comprehensive, easy to use, and has a community-like look and feel. What I'm trying to emulate on the website is the look and feel of an individual aficionado going into that lounge. You may walk in and not know anyone,
right?
But you always make friends,
right?
And I'm trying to create that community type look and feel through the website. I can tell you with people that are ready to help and jump in, like yourself, others, we're gaining traction, right? Like I am now getting into all of the very technical things, the Google Analytics. I can tell how many new users are coming to the platform every day, and those numbers are increasing. I also can say that with some of the upcoming events we have, it should create some additional exposure. Cigar Press did an article on Stogie Hub that posted about a week ago.
That's great.
So there's some traction there. So absolutely, I've been both humbled and honored with the progress thus far, and I think it's all upside going forward. So we just continue to have conversations to create awareness, but at the same time, I'm always looking to gain education and just look to build and nurture relationships.
Good.
So that's kind of, but again, I'd love to know more about you. So your cigar journey, how did your cigar journey, how did it start? Or how did you get into, the things that you're doing now? What was the initial impetus for your business?
For me, starting, I would go back to 2018. So I turned 23, so that I'm dating myself, of course. I'll be 30 in a couple of days. So I turned 23, and my dad and I had a conversation prior to him coming to my graduation. So I graduated with my second degree, and I turned 23 in the same weekend. And he said to me, "So what do you want? What do you want for your birthday? Like, what do you want for your graduation?" And I said to him, "I want you to teach me how to smoke cigars, and I want you to come down for a week and cook me food all week long." And he says, "Okay, so that second thing, I'm totally okay with that. Like, that's something I can do." My dad's been a chef, he's had a food truck, he's done the whole thing, right? Been cooking pretty much most of his life.
Sure.
And him and my uncle have been smoking cigars all my life. And so I very much so remember the smell and them smoking the cigars. And so I finally got the courage at 23 to ask. And he, of course, shot me down the first time because he's like, I just, I don't know. Like, you sure you don't want anything else? Like, just whole thing, right? So
try to talk you out of it.
Right, of course,
Gotcha.
of course, right. But because I'm a daddy's girl, I'm very grateful that my dad was like, "Oh, you know what? Okay." So when I went to the cigar lounge with him, he told me that I had to smoke what he wanted me to smoke. Okay. And so, of course, I was like, "Okay, fine. If you're going to teach me, I have to be able to abide by your rules, right?" So I chose a spot in the lounge, and he gave me the cigar. Of course, let the tobacconist walk me around the humidor because, to my dad, he just smokes cigars. Like, he's not fully into all of the technicalities. He is very much so one of those people that, he likes what he likes, and that's kind of it. Yeah. And so kind of now into rolling into me smoking cigars. So after we had our experience, I really just hit the ground running. So from there, I went to different places and smoked cigars. I went to different cigar lounges for events and met so many different types of people. And so it just kind of brought everything full circle for me, right? And so then we fast forward to 2021. I had my first cigar mixer event in Richmond. And in August of 21, I had another one in January of 22. And then I had another one in August of 22. So in between the January and August event, I started my cigar education show. I started that in July of 22. And Cigars With M was kind of born. And it started with the first episode of the 3 parts of the cigar, of course, the filler, binder, and wrapper. And from there, it's just kind of blossomed into this beautiful business. What I love is that in my own unique business, I am responsible for, as many people have mentioned to me before, being the industry's educator. And so I very much so take that as a huge honor and grateful to have that as a title from, all of my supporters, but of course, being an educator in general. So expanding that brand to hosting cigar education, sensory and guided smoke events, which is very nice. And 10 to 12 people is what the events are. And I host them twice a month. Mm-hmm.
Very nice. So when you first started out with your events, I know you said you're based in Richmond. Are your events are they local events, or are you traveling, or what's that look like?
I actually started in Richmond with the VIP with Mechelle series, okay. Only because I live in Richmond, okay. Right? And I have since then, well, actually this upcoming month in April, I will be having an event in Petersburg, which is a little further south of Richmond. The 5th of April, I have a wine event that's at a winery in Richmond. And then on the 26th of April, I have a cigar and coffee event that's in Petersburg. And then May and June and July, I'm going to be trying to float around to different places within the DMV, of course, and any other clients that want to have, events. Of course, I am available for those as well. So I primarily right now, because I live in Richmond, I am doing events in Richmond. Mm-hmm.
Do you provide the cigars or?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the business model is more set up where the person comes and they are fully experiencing the cigar itself. So I'm providing your torch, your cutter. I'm also providing the cigars, and I'm providing tobacco for you to physically feel and smell, and also do a burn test, which is really nice because you get a chance to do the sensory portion, which is everything from you feeling the tobacco. So it could be a filler, binder, or wrapper leaf, or it could be two of the parts of the cigar physically there for you to feel. And so we start by feeling it, then we smell it, and then we do a burn test where you burn a small hole into the tobacco to see essentially how the cigar tobacco, or how the tobacco itself kind of expands as the fire is on it. And so from there, we then take the cigar and we do the cold draw, and we talk about all of the parts of the cigar and the taste notes and the history of the family. And I also put in some fun facts that I've learned about the particular cigar company as well. And from the end, we do kind of like a little quiz where I quiz the attendees and ask them a question for them to be able to win a prize. And then after that, we just kind of sit and we talk and smoke even more. But it's a 2-hour experience. So I do an hour of cigar education from a sensory portion, and then I do an hour of cigar education from a guided smoke. So I'm walking you through it. It's 10 to 12 people, like I mentioned earlier, which is nice because I get a chance to have a conversation with each person. Very interactive. So I'm calling on each person, saying their names out loud. So they also are sitting amongst people and remembering their names. Sure. And we're having a good time. I mean, it is truly one of the experiences that I wish that I could have outside of me, right? Something that an attendee mentioned on Thursday when I had an event is that the standard that I have for my events is making the standard of cut and light events have to be higher. So
elevating everyone's
standards. Right. And
gotcha.
So for me, I'm grateful that somebody even put all of that together, sure. Right? And said to me that what I'm doing is such an impactful piece of the industry that it's making them want to require cigar companies to have a higher standard on how they're doing cut and lights. And that's not to shade anybody, but it's just to be mindful that it's something about having a sensory experience with a cigar. It is a very emotional, and I would say in some cases it can be a spiritual experience. And so you are smoking this cigar and you're becoming one with it essentially. And so why wouldn't you want it to be something that you're taking the time to kind of explore?
Absolutely. No, I like that. I mean, I think what I'd love to get your perspective on, our couple episodes ago, mm-hmm. we Chris and I had an opportunity to walk a brand new cigar smoker through the process. Mm-hmm. So my daughter Gabby, her friend Madison, mm-hmm. said, "Hey, I'd love to learn how to smoke a cigar." She's 26.
That's great.
So we basically just walked her through from A to Z. So I walked away from that conversation. A couple of things dawned on me. One, we are providing an education, and for the folks that are curious, mm-hmm. we're providing that information to let them make real decisions, which Absolutely. Is awesome. So at the end, it was funny. Madison said, "Well, I didn't hate it," which means I'll have her back out. Right? We'll keep it going.
Right.
But the other thing that dawned on me from that experience is the Georgetown Tobacco event. Again, we met there, and I was part of that event, and I sat at a table with, I think it was three college seniors from Georgetown. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, wow, this is amazing, because although I love cigars, it's not something I ever would have thought about in college. Mm-hmm. So just talking to them and getting their thoughts around, like, as a college senior, where do you go to smoke cigars? How are you buying the cigars? And so we walked through and had that conversation, which was great. But I say all that to say, like, when you're having your events, so they're very small, intimate groups. What would you say, like, the demographics are? Like, is it a good mix
So
of different folks, or?
Yes. So I actually, for example, Thursday was my last most recent event. So on Thursday, I had 2 cigar smokers that were brand new, like may have had one cigar prior to, but never had an experience where someone was walking them through it, right? Which was so nice because I was able to give them the attention that they needed, but then they were also able to say, okay, now I actually want to try more because you've empowered me to be able to do so, which is nice. And it's always a good experience when you have a mix of new cigar smokers and folks who have not smoked cigars or have smoked cigars prior to, because you have some experts in the room, as I say, and they're able to, while you're doing your event, somewhat attend to the beginner cigar smoker and say, hey, so she was doing this, and this is how you do this. And you're talking to each other, and you're creating this relationship between the two. And it's very heartwarming as an educator to see that somebody else is wanting to teach someone else, right? A lot of times I will say to people, I can't take this knowledge with me. So when I go home to be with the Lord, that's it, right? But I want to be able to make sure that my legacy is that my knowledge that I have given the world is continuously. It is not just, it stops with me.
That makes sense.
I don't
mean to interrupt, but that's again a testament to who you are. Like I said, we met, and your first inclination was to reach out and help, right?
Yeah.
And so I can tell you, starting a new business, you don't get that from everyone, right? And so, just so you know, that does not go unnoticed, right? People notice things like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
No, that was kind of a similar story. I was at the lounge I typically go to in Reston, Virginia,
Okay.
and there was a young couple there. I think the guy had come in with his friend. It was kind of his first time smoking. We kind of said hi. It just can talk about random stuff. And I saw him a second time. He came with a significant other,
Mm-hmm.
and I could tell that he really didn't know what he was doing. So I was like, hold on, let me kind of help you.
Right.
And this is kind of how you cut it, and
Mm-hmm.
these are the different ways you can kind of light it, and and I think from that he really enjoyed. He was like, I really want to do this again and come back, and so that was a really cool experience because typically a lot of the people you meet at the lounge or see at the lounge are kind of seasoned cigar
Mm-hmm.
smokers, and so kind of rare occasions you get to see kind of newer folks.
It's always a nice experience because I'm like, come on in the room. Let me invite you into the community.
Yeah, I would say to Chris's point, we have our favorite lounges, and what I've noticed is that you tend to see people who are experienced,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm like, well, how do we help the people that want to learn,
Right.
but don't have that base level of knowledge
Yeah.
to feel comfortable going and sitting down in the lounge?
Right, which is why I have my show.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that I have Cigars With M and I have the platform to be able to teach people. I get messages all the time or emails where people will say, oh, I feel so empowered to go to a cigar lounge now. It is something that I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to learn how to smoke cigars, and you just made me feel so much more comfortable because you have episodes where I'm learning. I'm actually able to play back the episode and go, if you're on YouTube, it's a little bit easier to be able to see all the titles in a row, and so people can kind of choose what they need. So if you're in a cigar shop and you're looking for a certain type of cigar, and someone saying to you, oh, well, you should just try Connecticut, then you can go to the episode that I've done about Connecticut tobacco, right? Or if you're looking for how to cut a cigar, I have an episode on how to cut. I have an episode on how to light. There's various episodes available for really everybody. Somebody who's a new cigar smoker, someone who's seasoned. I had this one guy, he's been smoking for longer than I've been alive. And he said to me, that episode that you did about cigar ashes, I had no idea that the ash of the cigar made so much of a difference. And so it was funny because it's the fact that someone who is seasoned, who's been smoking longer than I've been alive, right, is able to actually learn something.
Sure.
Even in their seasonedness, right?
Absolutely. So I'm just really curious because we get this question often. So for people that want to learn and don't have experience, how do you guide them into what their first cigar should be, right? Just certainly it should be mild to medium.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good place to start.
Well, very mild.
But
Yes.
other than that, what is there any other advice you give them when they're first starting out?
Yes.
Okay.
So I definitely have kind of a step process that I go through with people. Something I do ask them is, what are the type of things that you eat? A lot of people will start with what are the type of things that you drink, but I like to say what are the type of things that you eat, because cigars, for me, I tend to get a lot of different notes, right? And what you eat and what you drink prior to you smoking the cigar is going to show up in your taste notes and your smoking experience. So I tend to ask the eating question. And then as I go through and ask them about, what kind of things that they eat, then I'll say to them, okay, so you're a new cigar smoker. I am not a flavored girly, right? I don't smoke flavored cigars. I don't recommend them either. Not any shade to flavored cigar companies, but I personally think that somebody who's smoking a cigar for the first time should have a premium cigar, non-flavored cigar, so that they can kind of start in the middle. So you have the flavored spectrum and then you have the full spectrum, right? So if you're starting with a mild cigar, then you're kind of in the middle when you're thinking about the types of cigars that you can have. And being able to start with something like, very mild. I mean, there's so many different options there. Like you can do an Ashton Classic, or you can do a Davidoff on a Vasario. There's so many different things there, right? But I try to choose something that I know is mild. Then I also share with them too that you don't have to make the decision of smoking a cigar so quick. Take your time and be in the cigar lounge and look at the cigar, look at the name, look the name up. Use some of the resources that are available on the website to figure out what the type of blend there is, right? And then also take the time to figure out, is this a mild cigar? Is this a medium cigar? Is this full? Maybe is this something that's not a beginner cigar? And there's many articles that are available that have beginner cigars. So that way in the future, after you smoke this cigar, you might say, hey, I kind of like this. I want to continue to go along the lines. You may be somewhere that doesn't offer the 3 cigars that I maybe gave you. So then now you have other options if you look at these different articles that are available to you. So from there, then I, of course, offer, to show them how to cut and light and walk them through that process. Depending on how long I'm there, I will also, just talk about maybe a little bit about the cigar itself and my experience with it. Or if I know the company manufacturer, give a little, insight in that. I know that for me, knowledge is something that I give as a gift to the world. I think it's very important to do so, and I try my best to make sure that it's not limited.
No, makes sense. Makes perfect sense. I mean, everything you said absolutely resonates. I mean, just being able to educate and impart wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
and watch people grow through that
Yes.
evolution,
Mm-hmm.
it has to be rewarding. Do you
Mhm.
get, along those lines, do you get, say, like the same people coming back for multiple cut and lights,
Mm-hmm.
so you can see how they're progressing?
Yes.
What does that look like?
So with the Cigar Education Event Series, I have had numerous attendees that are 3-4 time event attendees. And so it's very nice to see people's faces all over again, and for us to be able to walk through a different experience, because I really want to make sure that you have kind of this cultivated experience. So I have a new cigar manufacturer every single event, so it's not the same event every time, which is also very nice because you get to try different types of tobacco, and you then can learn more history about the different companies, and nothing feels the same. It doesn't feel like you're going to this book and you're reading this book over again. This book is changing every single time you see it, right? So it's very nice to be able to do that as well.
Yeah, no, I like that. It sounds like, your forte is sharing knowledge and wisdom, which is awesome. And obviously your passion and love for cigars. How do you think about taking those things and creating a thriving business out of that?
So for me, I think with now with having the event series in addition to my show, I would say the brand is somewhat complete, right? And so I am very grateful that I've gotten to this point of cultivation, because I remember my very first episode and being extremely frustrated because I wanted it to be perfect, right? And wanting it to be just the way that it, like I thought that it should be at that time, spending 6 hours filming, trying to figure out, okay, is this right? Is this right? Like doing all these different things, of course, and also being new to filming. So it was very nice to have a friend of mine who is a videographer, and he does photography as well, owns a production company. It's called Original Media. So if you ever need some assistance there and you're in Richmond, he's happy to connect with you. And so for me, being able to have him as a friend and walking me through, okay, you need to put your camera up over here and you need to use your tripod and do this over here, and just kind of being there to help me through the really the first couple of episodes. And then even now, as I've been doing it for, it'll be 3 years in July, I will still call on him and say, hey, can you help me with, XYZ, or I'm trying to do this thing I saw. I was, in this class and I learned something, and I was trying to see how I can do that, right? And how this is actually possible for me. So I'm grateful to have somebody who owns a production company that is a mentor to me.
Sure. No, that makes sense. No, appreciate that. When you think about like a person like in my situation where I'm starting a brand new company with a platform that, as best I can tell, doesn't currently exist. Like, what would what would be your thoughts around advice? Like, what should I be thinking about that maybe I haven't thought of yet? Just given your industry knowledge and your contacts and experiences.
Oh, absolutely. One thing I will say, just thinking about my own business and kind of starting there, I realized that I was solving a problem, right? So the whole reason behind doing my show is because I was solving a problem, at least a problem that I thought the industry was having. And no shade to the industry, just the idea that sometimes that's how some of the best projects come out of. So I noticed that cigar education was something that we were kind of lacking in the industry. As a new cigar smoker, my dad is somebody who's not necessarily very technical. And so I'm a nerd. And so I want to know all of the ins and outs, and I want to know, all of the different regions and how all of that works. And so it was very kind of baffling to me that I didn't have one place to go find everything, right? And not that having one place to find everything is always the best, but it's nice to be able to have some kind of examples. So I'm grateful that we have Tobacco University, because they allow all of us to be able to be educated and take a test to be able to have, the certified cigar sommelier, which I have, and I'm grateful to be able to just have that connection. But it's also, as a consumer, if you're wanting to learn an even more in-depth kind of cigar knowledge, you have there's a book that you can read, of course, the tobacconist book that you can read. And then there's other books that are available as well. And they have some videos, some short videos, and a lot of text for you to read. So for me, I would prefer reading it, right?
Okay.
And then me learning all of the different aspects of the industry, I felt, okay, now we need something that somebody can have a short, quick video. Because everything I'm watching is, 3, 5, 10, 20, an hour. And everybody's attention spans seem to be getting smaller and smaller. So how can we solve the problem of being able to have this, right? And having a group of people around me that were very much so, you need to do something else other than just taking pictures and posting cigar education under them, right? And so after much thought and prayer, and really just coming to the realization that that is a problem that I can solve by creating a cigar education show, kind of moving from there. But what I would say as far as advice is concerned, having a group of people around you that can, for one, pray for you, who can watch your back when it comes to just business as a whole. Your business model is unique, which is great, which means that you're writing the blueprint for the next person. And so you are able to be in a place where you can make some mistakes, but some of the mistakes that you make don't have to be done, which is why you have people around you that have been in business before and who are entrepreneurs who can say, okay, what you're doing is great. You might want to watch out for this, and this, because this might be something that you may run into. You may not run into it, but at least you know, and you know what it looks like. And you have somewhat of a clear kind of mindset. Okay, so I was talking to so-and-so, because typically what happens is you see a situation and then you remember that somebody told you about it. And then you're like, oh, okay, now I know how to act on it because now I have some insight, I have some wisdom. So having the right people around you is very important. I would say no more than 4 people for sure.
Okay.
And making sure that you're consistently writing down plans. That is something that is super important. And doing a content calendar. I created a content calendar for the industry last year, actually. And it has like important dates within the industry, which is super important.
Mm-hmm.
And then some just national dates that kind of apply to us as a cigar industry, like National Cigar Day, National Boutique Cigar Day. All of those things are very important because it adds additional content to your brand and continues to put that kind of voice out there. So even with your platform being more of a eBay-like company, you are trying to touch consumers. So you have to go where consumers are.
Yeah.
Even, I would say, extending yourself to, I don't know if you've heard of Substack before.
No.
But Substack is a kind of like a blog platform, but it gives you the opportunity to give people more of a written type of content, which people are into right now. And so then you can spend some time talking about Stogie Hub and educating people on what the platform is and being able to reach out to other people who are in the cigar industry that way. There are people from Europe that are on Substack, cigar related, and then also the UK that I've seen as well.
Yeah, no, I that makes perfect sense. I appreciate that. I think, my background, so I spent probably the first 20 years of my career lending into small businesses as a commercial lender,
That's
right?
great.
So helping small businesses execute their plan and their platform, and helping them fund that is my experience. And then I spent about 10 years in tech. So this Stogie Hub platform is the marriage of those two desperate experiences, right? So
That's
I put
good.
them together. So I'm always very passionate about enabling the small business owner. So I think that's an opportunity for me that I haven't even tapped yet.
Yeah.
I'm just now starting to talk to lounge owners, and as I talk to them, I feel like Stogie Hub is an enabler for their accessory sales, right? Because I know when I go into my favorite shop, I'm obsessed with the accessories, right? Like I love to smoke cigars, but I'm typically collecting the accessories, the lighters, the DuPonts, right?
Yes.
And so, no matter what lounge I go to, I always see a DuPont that I want. Can I buy the DuPont? Of course I can buy it, but
should you?
psychologically, right? Michelle, you see where I'm going?
Right.
Psychologically, should I buy that?
Right.
Like I can easily buy it.
It's true.
So I'm always held back by that. And so my discussion and presentation to lounge owners is that, hey, I feel like my platform is an enabler to your sales.
Right.
Because if I can help your patrons swap out of things they no longer need, but are perfectly fine, then that will give them the psychological freedom to make that purchase that they otherwise wouldn't. Right. And that has resonated with shop owners. The problem is when you're talking one person, I can only have so many conversations, right? And so I'm looking for a way to leverage my ability to have those conversations.
I would definitely say too, as another piece of advice is to remember that you are important and significant in the industry. As a new business, sometimes that new business thought, like, are people going to need me? Am I going to be useful in this space? You are useful. You are important. And you are needed. And so as you are getting to know so many different types of people and having conversations with people, be encouraged that what you have is what they need. They just have to realize that they need it. It's going to come a time that they're going to need you because they know that they need you. They just have to think about it, right? And just because someone says no the first time doesn't mean that they're not going to say no in the future. It could also mean that maybe that particular lounge owner is deciding to retire. So now all of the accessories that they have in their store, they need to be sold. So maybe they're going to come to you and say, hey, I need to sell all these accessories and make some money in the process. How can you help me? So now the initial conversation that you've had has kind of resonated with them, and they've come back to you and then are bringing friends with them, creating raving fans.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. I mean, something I'm starting to think about more, right? So, everyone knows that small businesses either grow or die based on cash flow, right? Let's be honest, right? So, when I go into a lounge and I'm looking at a beautiful accessories, case or case of accessories, and if those things are not being sold or they're not turning, that's literally dead money for that owner, right? Yeah. And so, how can you create a encouraging presentation to them to maybe utilize the platform for a portion of their sales, right? And so I've thought about that. I haven't had conversations with lounges about that yet, but it's definitely something that I've given some thought to.
Yes, I would just encourage that, and also too, you have a podcast that's going very well. So I would say continue to elevate the other portions of your business and even your knowledge. Like you can be a consultant for someone who is in the business who maybe just needs to restructure. So then you're making money 3 different ways. You have the podcast, you of course advertisement, right? And then you also have Stogie Hub and consulting.
Yeah. No, it's funny. So I was sitting with a lounge owner last week. It's been open for a little over a year. And as we had our conversation, the banker in me started to come out. Like I'm like, go get the financials, right? Like I want to see your balance sheet, your income statement. I want to see your cash flow statement.
Right.
And what I realized is that he had opportunities to grow and build his business that he wasn't aware of.
Right.
And I'm aware because as a financial analyst by trade, I'm staring at nickels and dimes all day long and figuring out how to turn that dime into a quarter, right? And so I think you're right. There's opportunities as I'm talking to lounge owners about, utilizing the platform for portions of their accessory sales. There's opportunities to help them grow and build their business in other areas that I haven't even really touched upon yet. So I'm looking forward to that. It gets me back to my lending roots, where I spent a good portion of my career. So,
which is good because you're also doing it for yourself and not for somebody else.
Right. And again, for me, I am always wanting to focus my energy and efforts on building up small businesses, right? Because a lot of times people want to go and work and elevate their careers in corporate settings. But when you look at the economics across the country, 60% or 70% of what's bought and sold is done through small businesses, right? And so how can you take collective knowledge and wisdom, have a good time, share things with people that are valuable, but also help them build and grow their business. Something that I'm super, super passionate about. So I absolutely enjoy that and would love to continue having those conversations as well.
I agree that you should definitely do that for sure. You can see the passion is like oozing out of you.
No, it's just, again, I mean, I think I've just sat across the table from so many business owners. Some people are struggling. Some people are doing well, but still don't see the opportunity right in front of them. So helping them realize that is very gratifying. Very gratifying.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What's your favorite cigar?
That is probably the question that most people ask me all the time. To be honest, I don't have a favorite cigar. I have a top 10, but I will name one cigar that I absolutely love. That is not my favorite, but it is on the top 10. If you've ever been to New York City, there is a little but mighty cigar factory called Martinez. And I adore going there. It's one of the places that I try to go at least once a month, right? They have a cigar called the New York City Blend, and it is the queen size that I absolutely love. It's the Corona size. It's perfect for 30-minute smoke. It's a good start the day, smoke a midday, into the day. It's a great cigar in general. And I absolutely love it. They actually sell it at Georgetown Tobacco. So if you're looking to try it, definitely make sure you go to Georgetown to get one.
What's in it?
So to be honest, I don't remember what the filler binder wrapper is. I'm not even gonna try. But I know that it's good.
I'll try sometime.
Yeah, you definitely should try it for sure. And if you're ever in New York City, you should go see Jesus. He is the owner of Martinez Cigars, and they actually have rollers Monday through Friday, which is very nice. So if you're looking for a very authentic experience in the United States, and also in the United States, but also in an area close to you, I would encourage going to Manhattan to be able to see them.
Is it a production facility as well as a lounge?
Yes. So they actually make cigars for many different companies. They've made cigars for J. London Cigars, the Amendola Brothers, Lampert. Those are all brands that the three that I can think of right now that they've made cigars for. But they've been in business to be 51 years, coming up very soon. And they have been just killing it. I mean, literally, like if you're sitting in the shop, sometimes I'll go in there and I'll sit most of the day, take the train up early in the morning, and then take the train home and just sit there, and you just see the traffic. It is, I mean, so many people in there, and it's such a good vibe. They're laughing, they're having a good time. There's cigar rollers in there. People are dancing because, of course, they're playing music, and so it's very, very nice experience. But it is very, I would say, probably the authentic experience that you can get closest to what you would get if you were going to the Dominican Republic or if you're going to Nicaragua.
So funny thing that just happened twice already. So you talked about ashing, and I just my ash fell twice.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I try to go as long as I can, which is probably a terrible idea. So both times I've accidentally ashed on myself, which it happens. But how often do you ash?
So for me, anytime I've ever taught anybody about ashing, I always say when it's about an inch thick is when I tend to say for people to ash. And the reason being is just so that you can get a clean slate, and then it's obviously not falling on you. And you have a little bit better kind of grip on the cigar. And for me, I personally like the ability to ash because I don't want to feel like I'm in an unsecure position, because the ash sometimes can burn your clothes. It also can be kind of heavy in your hand. So for me, I'm not a big fan of heavy cigars. I tend to like cigars that are a little bit more light. So that way, if I'm talking to somebody, I can sway my hand and I'm not having to see the ash fall on my dress, right? So it is typically what I do. What about you? What do you typically do?
I think an inch. Yeah. Okay. And sometimes if I'm like feeling like a little risky, I just kind of let it go until
So what's the longest that you've had an ash?
So this is actually a cigar that you gave me, and we're smoking at the lounge. It was the Arturo Fuente, the pink one.
It was a rare pink.
Rare pink.
Okay.
It was like
It's a great cigar.
Yeah, it was actually a really good cigar, and it was the kind of like the fat bulbous one, the one that's about like this tall. I didn't have to ash it at all. I'd actually got it all the way down to the nub. I have a picture of it somewhere.
That's great.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever been that risky before.
I have ash anxiety.
Yeah, me too. Because I have a few dresses that I have mistakenly, like, I'm sitting here and then somehow there's an ash on and it's like a small hole, and I'm like freaking out because I like my clothes. That's why I wear them. So I want to make sure that I don't get the ashes on them.
There was a company that, remember,
I'm nervous right now.
Right.
I'm nervous right now.
I don't blame you
about this, but on Half Wheel, they were talking about a company that made cigar bibs. I don't know if we had that conversation.
I've seen that before.
The blanket.
Yeah, the blanket.
It was the blanket.
I mean, to me, it's a great invention. I don't know that I would be using it going out, but I think it's a great invention for somebody that wants to not ash their cigar, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've got anxiety around that.
Yeah.
So like when he was smoking that, I was with him when he was smoking that cigar in his ash, and I just got up and moved.
Yeah.
I'm
I've also seen the pictures where people will put the ash on the table.
Yeah.
Where it's the cigar itself is ash so much that the ash is standing up on its own.
Yes.
So it's very interesting to kind of see that piece.
I've seen it where somebody will take the ash out
Mhm.
and then put it back on the cigar and is able to keep smoking it, which that's something I've never been
That's
able
a
to do.
skill.
That's
Yeah.
a skill,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a skill.
You will not find me trying that.
Yeah, me neither. Not at all.
Like I can't produce the ash to even try that.
Right. Yeah, I'm not testing that at all.
So I think you and I chatted, just switching gears a little bit. PCA's coming up.
Yes.
Coming
PCA, shout out to PCA.
Coming up next month.
Yes.
It
It is literally, I think 12 days from now.
it's coming
I
up.
leave in 12 days. Oh, Jesus.
Yep.
Time is flying.
Yep. So we'll see each other there.
Yes.
But as for a new person, like I'm attending my first event next month. What advice would you give me for what I'm about to experience? Yeah.
It's a whole vibe.
Oh, I know. I know.
But it is also a time that the people that you want to meet, they are there.
Okay.
PCA is the industry's Oscars. And they also have an award ceremony, as if the Oscars was there as well. It was so interesting how that kind of plays. But needless to say, I would definitely say for you to stay aware, just aware of everything going on, bask in the ambience.
Mhm.
Don't get overwhelmed. And I say don't get overwhelmed, but it is a potential for you to get overwhelmed.
Sure.
Because there are thousands of people there. And so if you're not used to being in places where there's thousands of people at the same time, that can be a bit overwhelming. But there's places where if you feel a little overwhelmed, you can go in the corner and
Just take a
sit
break. Yeah.
and have a moment. There's drinks flowing on the floor. There's coffee. There's food. So definitely make sure you're hydrated because it is a long day.
Yeah.
Make sure you eat something and just have a good time. Go and meet people that you may have not ever met before, or people who you consider to be legends.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely go and speak to them. Of course, be polite to them as they're, maybe in meetings and things of that sort, but go and speak to people and meet people and connect with them and be able to just put yourself in a position where, as if you are going to a business conference, because it's really what it is.
It's really what it is. Sure.
And so you are keeping in mind, of course, your business, but you're also learning a lot. So like at PCA, it's a time to learn. It's a time to engage and have a good time, but you want to make sure that you're making it worth it. Like PCA is what you make it. Like for me and my media director, I make a calendar. So we know what we're doing, each day that we're there. And we have, different events that we've been invited to go to. So we have all of those things set up. And we've done all the RSVPs and all of those things and have the outfits and things like that. So it is something that you definitely should have somewhat of a schedule.
Yeah.
I would encourage to looking at the list of the exhibitors and kind of figuring out what your game plan is. Me personally, I go see all the exhibitors on day one.
Okay.
And then I go from the second and third day, I primarily focused on maybe building relationships with people that I have not met before, that I am interested in working with or interested in supporting them in their business by maybe doing some content about their booth while I am there in PCA.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have interviews scheduled with different companies where I'm being interviewed on a podcast or I'm being interviewed for a magazine. So those things are placed kind of in there as well. And then, of course, the events that are going on with the various cigar companies, there's that. And then there's the industry party. So there's a whole lot of things that are going on during PCA. But I would definitely encourage making a schedule, having an idea of where you want to kind of work with and who you kind of want to meet. And just really have a good time. It is very fun, very much so fun.
Very good.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, again, I appreciate all of this. It's going to be helpful. I think for this first event, like day one, I just want to take it all in,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Please
Just go on the floor, take it all in. And then day two, I'll have my targeted list.
Mm-hmm.
of folks that I definitely want to spend some time with.
Yes.
So day one, just take it all in.
Yes.
Day two, hone that funnel down
Mm-hmm.
and just talk to the folks that I want to develop strategic relationships
Yes,
with.
absolutely. And I would say, so shout out to my media director, John Sands. He taught me this trick to take the business card that you receive from the person and then have a stack of note cards and write on the note card your experience with them or some things that you can remember to jog your memory,
Mm-hmm.
and then staple them together or paperclip them together. So that way, when you go back and you're, done with PCA, that you're able to go home and have an idea of what the conversation was. So then from there, you can now send an email that says, hey, I remember meeting you at PCA. You and I were having XYZ conversation, and I wanted to kind of pick up with that. And I always try to reach out to people, I would say a week after PCA, because some people go on vacation after PCA. And so that whole week, they're like not available.
Right
So
after.
So the
Okay.
week after PCA, towards the end, and then the following week after that is when I typically try to reach out, because of course people are, they're busy or they're getting back, all their stuff is getting shipped back. They have to go through different things. So just be mindful that sometimes if you reach out to people right after PCA, you may not get a response because they may be in transition.
Sure. No, I like that. I mean, I spent a lot of my career going to so many management meetings and banker meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So we would always, write on the back of the card
Yes.
the key items from that conversation, right?
Yeah.
And then when you go back and you're dropping those folks into your database, you not only have whatever's on the front of the card,
Right.
but you have what's most valuable, which is what's on the back of the card.
Absolutely. Yeah. And some people's cards now, they're fancy, so they're super glossy. So having a sticky note or a note card that always helps, which is good.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. No, I think that'll be very helpful. I mean, this has all been great. Very good information. I
Thank
appreciate you sharing. What are your future aspirations?
Future aspirations. For one, I plan to stay in business for a long time.
Well, we're hoping for that.
Yes, absolutely. We gonna say that right there.
We're gonna do that.
Yeah, we're gonna do that for sure. That's absolute for sure. And then on top of that, I would just say to really just expand the brand. So this event series is going very well, and I'm very grateful for it. And so I'm wanting to continue that all year long. And then of course at the end of the year, kind of assess what this looks like for moving forward. Is this a year project, or is this something that I'm going to be doing every other year or every year? All of those things are pieces of the puzzle that I'm still trying to figure out, right? But as far as me as a company owner, my main focus is to just continue to educate. I absolutely love my core business, which is doing my show every week, every Monday. I enjoy doing that. And so that is something that I want to learn even more about, different types of filming techniques. And as I'm growing my team of people, being able to hire an intern to work on kind of some other pieces of content that I'm trying to cultivate to add to my social media.
Perfect. Any other advice for a new business owner coming into the industry that I should be thinking about?
Yes, I would definitely say don't be afraid to reach out to people.
Okay.
So as a PCA member, something that you get, which is a wonderful resource, is all of the manufacturer's information. And you have the ability to reach out and say, hey, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm wanting to do. Is this something that you can help with? Or if somebody is doing something very well within the industry that kind of aligns with your business, being able to reach out to them and say, hey, I noticed that you're doing XYZ. I'd love to collaborate with you. Or I would love to potentially, could you maybe be an advisor for me or a mentor as I grow my business in the industry? And can we work out something in regards to compensation for your time? Those would be things I would definitely say as a new business owner in the industry. The other thing I would say is just really make sure that you are being authentic to yourself. A lot of people nowadays spend time working on trends. And so you being able to have your authentic self and show up as you every single time is going to win every time. Being something else or someone else or doing things like someone else is going to cause there to be cracks in the boat.
Yeah, you may have some short-term gains, but you're going to suffer in the long run.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yes.
No, this has been very helpful.
Great.
Well,
I'm grateful that you feel so.
well, no, I'm looking forward to our continuous collaboration. Looking forward to connecting next month at
Yes.
PCA. So appreciate your guidance and help on that.
Absolutely.
And want to say thank you for joining us on short notice.
Thank you.
Absolutely appreciate it. Chris, any closeouts?
I guess we could talk about the cigars we smoked. I think
Absolutely.
we smoked a fair amount of it. So what kind of flavor notes are you getting from that one?
So for me, I think right now I'm getting a little flower notes in the back. I would say as I am sitting here, this cigar is resonating with me even more than it did the very first time that I've had it. And it's more of like a light cinnamon kind of flower notes. And it could also be that I've had Uncle Nearest as my drink of choice. So I would say those are the top two notes that I'm kind of feeling right now. What I do like though is it's fairly light. It's not so heavy, which is good. And it's not heavy as far as weight is concerned as well, which is also nice for me.
I think I've gotten cinnamon notes from that cigar as well before. So
Good.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say for me the Royal Release is always it's very consistent throughout. Obviously, super well constructed.
Right, Davidoff does not play games.
Right, especially with
They don't miss.
especially with this stick, right?
Right.
Like, you have to. I think I read somewhere that for this stick at Davidoff, there are 8 rollers, I believe, that are permitted to roll this cigar.
Mhm.
And each one of those 8 rollers have to have at least 15 years of experience.
Yes.
So you're going to get a very well constructed cigar, and this does not disappoint.
Absolutely. And for you to be a Davidoff white label roller, you have to roll for 10 plus years.
Yep.
And even in order for you just to touch the white label tobacco to roll it. So it is, Davidoff plays no games.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys know that's my line.
Yeah.
So I absolutely enjoy them. But again, like I said, we're very appreciative. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Thank
the
you for
opportunity to have
having
a
me.
conversation, and I look forward to continued conversations.
Absolutely.
And with that, we will tell everyone good evening, and stay tuned as it relates to Burn and Learn. We have an exciting list of potential upcoming guests, so we're looking forward to sharing more information on that sooner rather than later. From the Stogie Hub standpoint, we're continuing to add users on the platform. We're continuing to gain traction in the market. So looking forward to continuing the conversation. So again, appreciate everything. And with that, we'll wrap, and we look forward to the next episode.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks for lighting one up with us. That was Stephen Mann. And you've been listening to Burn and Learn. The Cigar Lifestyle Podcast is brought to you by Stogie Hub. Elevate your cigar game. And Access Studios. Access the power of video. Don't forget to visit our YouTube channel for exclusive content and hit that subscribe button to stay updated.